Welcome to RELaunch Live Podcast. RELaunch Live Podcast. Talking all things real estate, the strategies that build it, and sharing their own life-changing growth plans. They are two of the most dynamic people in the business with one common goal: to make you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Welcome to the RELaunch Live Podcast with your hosts, Veronica Figueroa and Jeff Lobb.
Hey, welcome back to the RELaunch Live Podcast. I'm Jeff Lobb, and I am missing my other co-host today, Veronica Figueroa, but she is off doing some awesome things in life today, so I'm super happy for her today. But I am joined by an amazing guest either way. We've got Lindsay Stevens joining us today from, is that kind of upstate New York now? Would you call that upstate or not quite there yet?
Yeah, I mean, we call it upstate, but people that are truly upstate would say we're downstate. We're about 90 miles north of Manhattan. So
that's right. Yeah. So to me, it's upstate, right? From a Jersey guy.
Of course.
So welcome to our show. This is all about being re-inspired and kind of reinventing the business of real estate. And, you know, we want to talk about so many things, and I've learned about your past. And I guess what I really want to start out with you is really understanding is how you actually got into the real estate space. How did you get here? Because that story alone, just of how people get started, is the good story in itself.
Yeah, I would say like sort of by accident,
Yeah.
which is probably what a lot of people say.
Oops.
I was working in New York City at the time. I was telling Veronica not that long ago, my dream was to be the next Jerry Maguire. I have a background in sports management. I went to school to be in the sports industry. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I love sports. I'm an athlete. And I worked for free, 80-hour, 90-hour work weeks in the city, grinding my way into the industry, and ultimately realized that it wasn't the place for me to be. Yeah. And went into the banking. I worked for Morgan Stanley, so I went into the banking industry, was there for 5 years, was in the banking industry when the market melted down. So I was at Morgan Stanley at the time and watched thousands of employees get escorted out of the building, watched their lives just, be taken away from them in an instant. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to quit. Yeah. And quit my job in the city. And I was 8.5 months pregnant at the time. So looking back was kind of foolish. But my husband was a principal broker of a small independent real estate office. And he was like, you should get licensed. So I did, thinking I would just get licensed and it would be whatever, I'd have my baby and go back to doing what I wanted to do. And here I am almost 13 years later.
Wow. I mean, it's interesting because my son is going through a very similar. He's in sports management, graduating this year, and I'm going to have to make sure he listens to this podcast because I'm sure there's going to be that battle of what do you do next, right? How do you end up in real estate? And then not only you ending up, how do you really thrive and just be such a huge success? Because right now the market's a little challenging for some people right now, so they're seeing some lumps and bumps. But more importantly, you're a mom. You've got several children, right? You got
two daughters. Yep, two daughters.
Ages?
9 and 12.
The 12 is always that magical time.
Yeah.
They get a little
middle school.
I know. So how did you evolve? Now, the upstate New York market's always a bit, unique in itself, right? It's how did you evolve once you got into real estate? If there was any times that you say were critical in your success of where you are today, where was that? What phase of your career?
I think it's an evolution. I think it's in that people don't trust the process and understand it really truly is a long game, and I tell people that when I meet them, like, if you're just in it for the paycheck and the commission, this is not the business for you. Right. It really truly is the business of relationships and building relationships and nurturing relationships with people. And I understood that. Like, I love people. I lead with my heart. And I understood the people that I was helping in the first phase of my business would follow me through, all the transitions. So at the time, nobody, we're in upstate. So we're in a town of 7,000 people. There's not a big population and nothing was selling. I got my license. I had no idea what to expect. So I guess that was a good thing because there truly was nothing, no inventory was moving at the time. And we identified that in order to make money with two people on commission only businesses, that we needed to pivot. So we started renting out people's homes rather than trying to sell them. And we birthed a sister ancillary business, a property management company during that recession. And all of the sellers that we had at the time who couldn't sell were like, let us put qualified tenants in there. Let us cover your monthly expenses. Let us get you out from underneath this, because they're all underwater. Everybody was underwater.
That's right.
So, we've actually, for the last 10 years, have managed these properties for them and kept good qualified tenants in them and just covered their mortgages until, the pandemic. And I called them. I'm like, listen, this is your time. You're right side up. This is the time. Because they've been waiting for so many years to, get out from under these properties. So, we sold a lot of their inventory during the pandemic also.
Yeah, which was crazy. We go into this pandemic thinking, our whole world's turning upside down, yet real estate thrived, right? So, which is as crazy as that could be. We can't go out and see people, but business is going to boom. So you hit a point that really resonates with me. And I run into so many agents across the country that frustrate me sometimes, that they don't want to even spend the time working with the person that has that rental property, or no, just a rental, not enough money. It's too much time. Who has that kind of time to spend on rentals? And I get almost like such a negative thing. And yet here is where you spent time simply helping people, right? Help people.
And I say that I built a real estate business on rentals.
Right.
Because I'll do anything. I'll sell anything. I don't care what the amount is. It's a rental. It's, a mobile home. It's $1 million home. Like, I'll move it.
Right.
And all of those people who were landlords or tenants became sellers and became buyers. And, it's the long game.
The long game. And and so many right now are struggling. And I hope they really listen to this, especially, they might've only been in the business 2, 3, 4 years. They went through this little boom, but now they're coming back to hardcore. Like, I don't know how to go find business right now, or what do I do? And you're right. Doing the hard work, that long-term game is so important, because it's not going to be that instant Amazon effect of your revenue right now, right? It's not right now, but you're going to have to do all the things, like you said, earn that respect of people. And they'll follow you.
And the trust.
And trust, right? So I'm intrigued about your being an athlete, because I treat real estate as a sport. I say all the time, but I would love to know, what did you play? And then how did it help you evolve? And tell me more about your athletics and business combined.
Yeah. So I'm a runner. I ran at UMass Amherst, which is, again, I'm a small town girl. So you're a good athlete in a small town until you're an athlete at a D1 college. Then you're a really bad athlete in a group of really good athletes. So I got humbled real quick. So I've been a runner my whole life. I ran cross country, I ran track. And, I feel like so much of my life was learned on the track or on the trails, just how to work hard, how to practice, how to be coached. Like, I'm the perfect student. You tell me what to do, I'll do it. I love to be coached. And, again, just continuing to show up day after day and putting the work in. And when it's cold or you don't feel good or you're tired, you show up. So I always say, like, every metaphor of my life comes from being an athlete. And I treat business like a sport. You can't. I said the other day to somebody, I'm like, you can't win on the sidelines. You have to win on the field with your team. You have to win with the people that are the defense and the offense and the tight ends and the quarterback. Like, that's how you win.
Yep. And that's why I know you do a lot of coaching yourself too, in your, industry as well. So, while we coach, and I think one of the biggest comments we made recently was talking about somebody very similar to the sport. And someone kind of nicely challenged me on a statement that I said. And I said something like, we have to stop negotiating with ourselves. We negotiate with ourselves too much. We were talking about their, what does their week look like and why aren't they doing the activities they know they should be doing? And they negotiate with themselves and talk themselves right out of doing the hard work, right? Just like you showing up, the days you don't want to run in the rain, the days you don't want to run in the cold, right? All those days, but you still go do it because you chose not to negotiate with yourself. And someone called me out on it. Like, well, give me an example. Like, well, how do you do it? Like, and I coach like kids lacrosse now, right? And we did have that same scenario. It's cold in New Jersey right now. We had a crappy rainy night. I had a long day from hell. And did I really feel like going standing in the cold rain coaching that night and on a muddy field, to be honest, and on top of it all? And I didn't. I really did not want to do it. But you know what? We play in the rain. We play in the cold. And we're going to have a game that comes in. Who am I to say, let's cancel because it's going to make me more comfortable as their coach and let the kids off the hook? Because they all complained and they all whined about it.
But they did it.
But we did it because we're going to have a game that's going to do that and that's going to make them tougher. So I love that you say that because it really is a sport.
And when I start talking myself out of things, and I think this comes from like a real estate industry that didn't move, I'm like, I don't want to go or I'm not going to go. And then immediately I'm like, this will be the showing that they make the $1 million offer. This, like the opportunity will present itself. And if I'm not there, someone else is going to win, and it's true. Like if you don't show up, somebody else is going to show up.
That's right. Showing up. So, I mean, you built such a great culture. Tell me more about your culture, your team and what made you who you are, like as a team and what you do.
Yeah. I always say it's passion and purpose. We're here to change people's lives and do good for people. And I always say, like, I'm a humble, small town mountain girl, like, and I'll never, it's a commitment of mine to never lose that part of me. Yeah. Because as we scale and grow, like that's still who I am at the core. And I don't care how much you produce or how much money you make. If you're not doing the right thing and treating people the way they deserve to be treated, like you don't have a place here on this team. So, I always say, like, you lead with your heart, you do the right thing first, the money will come. Yes. The right thing is always the right thing. And I've looked so many people in the eyes and said, listen, if it's not right, it's okay. Yeah. And,
as a leader, and I know you're really big on leadership. Did you ever have someone on your team that didn't fit that you had to kind of remove? How do you handle that? So many people struggle there. You get that producer or someone that's even fairly good, but they're not a fit for you. They're not that person. What do you do as a leader?
They need to go, because one person, it's true, like they can poison the well, and we've had it, and sometimes it's hard. It's difficult conversations. I don't love them, and again, like I'm really like, I love people. So it's hard for me sometimes to have those difficult conversations, but the culture can be poisoned very, very quickly, and if you allow it to continue, then it affects the team. It affects the culture. It affects the organization. It's like, you got to almost instantly address the,
is it like a rip the Band-Aid off, or is it something that you have to kind of work up to and build up to? Because some people
we've had both. Like we've had people that truly are just toxic for the environment and they've got to go, and we've had people that aren't doing what they need to be doing. And the other agents are watching and expecting something to be changed. And that's where we as a leader have to have the difficult conversation and say, listen, you have 30 days to make adjustments on these things that are not, you're not meeting the standards and the expectations. And there's agents that are holding us accountable to you. So we need to, you got to step up or step off.
That's right. And that's where a lot of the coaching comes in, right? You got to not only be a coach, but you have to be coachable. You have to be a student, you have to be coachable. Yeah. Most of this business, whether we like to say it or not, is a mental game. It's a mental game of preparation. It's a mindset. I know some backstory about you do a lot of, self-care, meditation, visualization. Can you take us through that? I think there's a big weak spot in preparing because people don't think they need to. They could just get up and go.
Yeah.
How do you prepare? Tell us some of the things you do.
Yeah, years ago, I mean, when I was living in the city, I started being really aware of, we could go really like juju on here. Visualization, meditation, the ask, believe, receive. Actually, at the time was when I was working 90 hours a week. I was young, I was partying my tushy off. I was just I was burning the candle at both ends.
Nice.
And I was having debilitating panic attacks at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started going to lunchtime meditation in the city, and that's what I would do. I'd leave Morgan Stanley and go sit in these rooms and be like, what the hell am I doing here? But then the ask, believe, receive, the visualizing of what I want, the vision boards, and, you just and I don't know at the time if it just made me feel like reconnected to myself and talked me off the cliff, but I continued on it. I ran the New York City Marathon in 2009 with a necklace that said ask, believe, receive on it. And, I just felt like things were happening that I wanted. And, your mindset and staying positive and being in a positive place, even when you don't want to be, and just really, truly manifesting what you want. And I think a lot of that is clarity, being really clear on what you want. And sometimes, cutting things out and putting them on a poster board is fun, but you're looking at those things every day and you're remembering why you're playing in the rain and why you're showing up when you don't want to, because there's only one way to get the things you really want in life is through just putting the work in.
Yeah.
I think people forget that there's no shortcut. I wish there was, but there's really not.
Yeah, I would love to find the shortcut, but I haven't found one yet either after 36 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think there has to be something personal that you have vested, that vision. And vision boarding is a very, important thing. It's like, what do you do with that vision board once you have it? Or, I was some transparency about me. I was a big non-believer back in the day about putting stuff out to the universe, that ask and the believe and the receive. I was a non-believer. I just, it's a bunch of
a hoax.
It's a hoax. And I was proven so wrong by one of the leaders that I worked for many years ago that made me go through the process and made me, commit in front of them. This was the CEO of a big company, and I did it and I laminated it and I put it in my pocket and okay, whatever. Till about 7 years later, I was sitting there during a move of our own home, going through boxes of stuff, and I found that laminate. And
that came true.
Oh my God, it was 4 out of 5 on both sides, business and personal. And not only did it come true, I never forget sitting on that floor by myself, just going through stuff. Rare I have quiet time, but I was going through it, and I sit there and I looked at that lamination. And I said, holy cow, I cannot believe these all happened. I'm not even sure how they happened. And ever from that point on, it's been something I do on a personal level where I actually carry it with me at all times. I have multiple copies laminated in my pocket or in my bag, and it's with me all the time. There's times I could just feel it in my pocket. I know about it. I know the why. There's something very personal attached to it for me. I made it very personal. And it's a huge belief I have right now. So I'm thrilled to hear.
Mine is here.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of it, and it's my lock screen on my phone. So every time I unlock my phone, I look at it. So
That's
we
awesome.
did these. Actually, Veronica was involved with the visualization workshop we did, and then we all did vision boards. And so mine's my screensaver on my phone.
That's a great place to put it, because I can imagine how many times a day you must.
Too many.
But you know what? It sticks in your subconscious, and it never made sense to me. It really didn't. And sometimes I don't have an explanation for it either, but I just know that it has worked and has continued to work. Not at 100%, but we're never going to have 100. There's no perfect in this, right? In this world, in this business.
Nope.
So, where are you headed next? What's your aspirations for the next 5 years? What are you focused on?
Yeah, I feel like I always say we're just getting warmed up. I spent a good chunk of the beginning of my business being a mom and raising my kids and being in a recession. So, but when the market shifted, we were ready.
Yeah.
And, we have a great team of agents. We're expanding pretty rapidly now, where I've always been like, no, we're boutique. We're going to stay, that Navy SEAL team. And then, okay, no, that's not going to work. We can't stay, we can't service everybody by staying this small little Navy SEAL team. So, we're expanding, we're growing. And with the growth, obviously, just the ability to help more families, help more people, change more people's lives. So yeah, we're taking on a lot of new agents. We just landed the Zillow Flex account, which is pretty new in our market. Yeah, so that's brand new. I'm like, Flex will never come here. I mean, there's, 200 people that live here. But so yeah, just, growth. But again, like growth with really like the awareness of staying true to who we are and, just making sure we do the right thing for our people.
Are you going to go out? Are you going to just expand in the state, or are you going to actually go outside your physical area, or are you going to kind of just expand it from within?
Yeah, I think we're going to expand pretty rapidly within the state of New York. And then, I'm actually looking at places to expand my life personally. We both have a place in the Adirondacks, and, I've always toyed with the idea of maybe Florida. So, just right now focuses on New York State and expanding beyond, the counties that we currently service, and having leaders in different markets that are, you're the leader of our organization in Ulster County, Orange County, Dutchess County, and helping people just rise up and lead people under them also.
So it's really kind of then a matchmaking game of finding new leaders that you can help grow leaders.
Yeah.
Right? If you can grow leaders under your culture, that helps the expansion of it, not just necessarily agents. So it's leadership, building downward to help train them.
And understanding that, you being on this team is not a life sentence. You know what I mean? Like
no one's holding you here.
We want to see you grow and scale and move off the team and build your own team. Like that's our goal for people.
See, that's such an intimidation for others, because some people don't want them to be equal or better, or to almost be their competitor at some point in time. And that's a hard leadership thing to find, is they become so good they could become your competitor, but rather, why not have them be an extension of you? Why don't you work out an arrangement to be an expansion of that versus just leaving altogether?
Yeah.
So I'd love to get a little granular, more on the sales and marketing side, if you don't mind. Can we share some things that your team's using, tools, resources, what you like and don't like in the team as far as systems and lead sources? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. So I'll go like real basic, I guess. We use Slack for our communication channel within the organization. I love it.
Yep.
I ask the team before 9:00 every morning to shoot a video of themselves, because we try and get everybody really comfortable on video. And we call it goals and gratitude. And it's their one goal for the day, right? So we've identified the fact that agents can accomplish or should accomplish one thing specifically per day. So we're like, it's only one. We can do this.
Small win. Now, so hold on a second. So tell me more about that. That's amazing. So they're shooting a video about their gratitude and they're putting it in the Slack channel. So is it to them? Is it to themselves? Is it just to the universe? Who are they talking
to the whole team?
Whole team. So the whole team.
Yeah. So it's kind of our morning huddle that we've moved over to a video platform where you're declaring your one thing for the day and the one thing that you're grateful for. So again, like coming from a place of gratitude every day, and it could be the sun is shining and I'm moving my body and I'm alive, whatever, which, and the one thing. So they're expected to obviously, and then they're accountable to the team, what they've declared they're expected to complete. So yeah, we love Slack in that way. Our calendar is integrated into Slack. So everything that's happening for the week is on a team calendar. They get on Monday the full gamut of what's happening for the week. And then every day, 7:00 in the morning, the calendar is sent out to the team. This is what's happening today, scripts and dialogues at 1:00. So nobody can say, oh my God, I wasn't aware. I didn't know. You did, but
You did. So Scripts and Dialogues are virtual, or live, or how are you doing them now?
We do. So Monday we do a mastermind on Zoom at 1:00. Tuesday we do an in-person sales meeting at noon. We also will bring in guest speakers, which we'll often encourage to feed everybody. The agents love to be fed, so come in with lunch. Thursdays we do Scripts and Dialogues in person, or on Zoom too, but we love to be face-to-face. Yeah. So yeah, we try and just do as much training as possible and keeping the agents engaged. And we do a lot on Slack also.
Yeah. Scripts and Dialogues are huge as far as being able to get them to do it live, right? Because it's the fear of saying it and doing it. But it's such a help when you can get people to show up and do it, because you say it in such a different way, and then I hear it a different way, and then I hear it another way, and then it becomes my own. So I think that's a huge win for you guys to be able to do that and pull that off. I think so many people struggle there.
And we put them back to back. So there's, we call it.
They don't see each other. Yeah. Yeah. So it's, that's a good strategy.
We call it the Scripts and Dialogues battles. So yeah, we put them back to back, and it's fun. Yesterday we did objections. We kind of switched it up and just went through just specific objections people are feeling. The market is tight. It's challenging to be a buyer's agent right now in this market. So.
Right. And for people listening that don't do this, because this sounds, this is a really, really good strategy you're sharing, but go back to the sports. It's like showing up for the game without having any practice, right? You didn't read the playbook, but I'm going to show up game day. To go out and handle objections that you're not comfortable with, or to get stuck on answering a question to make a client feel comfortable about using you and your team, is so bad for business, because you're not only hurting yourself and your own name, but the team and the brand that goes with it, because you just don't know. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know, but you're offering to share 5 different ways or more to do it differently. Here's another way to say it. Here's another way to say it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great nugget for people listening right now.
You have to practice, and you can't practice on your client. No. And I think that's something agents don't understand, is that you really have to practice, and it's okay to practice. I think agents want to just assume they know everything. And I love not knowing things, and I'm the first person to say, I'm not sure, but I'll find out. Right.
And there's a big difference of scripts being read. You can go to Google and find scripts all day long. It's different about, and we do this in some of our platforms that we use too, is when we interview people live, we role play live, because I will learn more so how you say it, and how you say it makes me feel differently based on your tone and the way you said it. All has an impact on the sales process. Yeah. So we have to listen to how you feel after it's said, because I could truly, see the difference in people saying something differently, same verbiage, but different tone, different approach. One's going to feel magical about it, and the other's going to feel like, wow, that was kind of off. So I love the practice. What else are you guys using?
We use Follow Up Boss for CRM. Our back end is YLOPO. Yep. Yeah. Okay. And we actually were with Chime. We moved over to Follow Up Boss in the 4th quarter of last year. Yep. So we really great CRM. What else are we using? Obviously, we use Slack.
We got Zillow Flex now for inbound leads, right? So that's happening.
Yeah, and we do the Op Cities, we do the Ojos, we do all of them. Ideal Agent, Home Light, wherever. So we'll be a part of all of it, and we have an inside sales agent that focuses, pretty heavily on outbound lead generation. Okay. And obviously what we're all feeling it across the country is just a serious lack of inventory for buyers. Yeah. So trying to, really get the agents to find opportunities outside of the MLS right now.
Off market stuff. And then is your ISA in-house, or is it external? In-house. Awesome. Yeah. Hard to find really good ISAs in-house too.
It took a while.
Yeah. It's quite magical you did, because it's a good find. It really is a good find. Man, if there was a piece of advice for someone, and because just for time purposes, I want to keep this to 30 minutes for us, because I could really ask you questions for the next 2 hours. But if there was some advice, people that are coming through this challenging market right now, their mindsets are off. They're frustrated. They're not sure if they can even survive and thrive in this business. And they came to you and said, Lindsay, what would you do? What advice would you give them?
We had this conversation yesterday. You got to breathe. You got to breathe, and you have to be positive. It goes back to the positivity, and remember, like, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. It's challenging. And I came from, you've been in the business, 38 years. I got licensed in 2009. I'm like, listing sat on the market for 3 years. It's just really, truly just keeping the positivity. And again, find opportunities, door knock. I'm going back to telling my team, door knock, go to the chain, go live on Facebook. I posted something yesterday. I'm like, I'm desperate. And this isn't, this is for another agent on the team. Like, I'm desperate to help this family with twins. They're going to be homeless. They have to be out of a rental July 1st. Anybody, 2 people reached out. Right. I do not want to sell my home, but I would for $575,000.
Right.
Right. So, I think we have to stop relying on the MLS. We got to put some real work into our professions. We got to be, hitting the pavement and finding opportunities and just stay positive. I know it's a lot of running around. It's a lot of, there's a lot of losses happening, but you'll win. Like, you just got to keep at it.
Yeah. I think it's small wins. And I think we got to leverage, like I said, the buyers, we have an opportunity to leverage. There's so much buyer need right now, or needs to be in places, that it's the best way to have an off-market conversation is, I know you may not be looking to sell now, but what if you're able to get this number? Or what if you moved it a year closer? Like, you got to get in front of people.
It's like the make me move, on Zillow, that button that used to be there, or I don't know if it's still there, make me move.
Make me move.
Like, what's the number? Like, what would make you be able to achieve your dreams of going to the Carolinas? What is it?
Yeah. And what is it if we did it sooner than later? Right?
Exactly.
What if it was now? Man, there's so many cool things I'd love to chat about. But listen, we're going to wrap this up. But I appreciate so much, as a mom, as someone who started from scratch, love where you live and the culture you built in your team. And I look forward to watching your expansion. And I have so many other questions I want to dive into, and just grateful to chat with you today. Really appreciate
it. Thank you so much.
So, best way to reach out to Lindsay, I think your socials on underneath your tab, but just give it, if someone wants to reach out and ask you a question, best way to get a hold of you.
They can find me anywhere, pretty much. Lindsay Stevens, or Lindsay Eileen Stevens is my handle on Instagram. If you hit me up, send me a DM, I'll definitely get back in touch with you.
DM, IG, it's all good. So awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch up with Veronica, hopefully, on the next one as well.
Sounds good.
Out. We really appreciate you guys for the RELaunch Live podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. Ella can take us away.
You've been listening to the RELaunch Live podcast, helping you rethink, reimagine, and be re-inspired in your life and business. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. Find the show on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next time.